Welcome to the Hot Comics Plopcast. Today we are going to talk about DC and Image comics that are hot right now for the month of January 2016 with your host, Comic Book Girl 19.
So today we have Amy Dallin.
Hello.
And we also have Captain Kirk, and T-Bone's going to be moderating a little bit. And yeah, we're going to be talking about Image comics.
I will also be turning these dials to make you guys sound really sexy.
And turning dials. So let's start off with DC. So I haven't been reading a lot of DC in a long, long time. I don't think a lot of people have been reading a lot of DC in a long time. I don't know. I don't think it's just me. Whatever. But Max Landis has been writing Superman American Alien, and I've been picking that one up. So that is the first DC book that I have been reading in a long while. And I am not disappointed thus far. So
you shouldn't be. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome.
I think there's going to be 6 of them in all, and they're all 6 different vignettes from within Superman's life. They're all self-contained stories, and you see different things like in the first one when he's a kid and he likes learning how to fly, and it's crazy and he doesn't know what he's doing yet.
This book was really charming.
The first one was really, really good. I think that one might be my favorite so far, but I'm still marinating in the other one.
Show us a few pages from that, Amy.
Yeah, so they got different artists for each one of these, which is awesome because you get totally different feels for them. Mm-hmm. There's kind of childhood Clark Kent.
Yeah, the E.T. thing was really great, where he goes as a kid to see E.T., and then the part where the government comes in, they take him and they put him in a little deal, and it's really scary, and he's dying, and he's like, oh, they wouldn't do that to me, it was so touching, it was really great. And then when he finally does figure out how to fly, he's like, I'm going to take you guys, talking to his mom and dad, I'm going to take you guys, we can fly anywhere, we go on vacation, and
this was cool.
It's really cute.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and then the second one is where there has been there's been a robbery, a kidnapping situation, a thing going on, and in Smallville, and so at first Clark doesn't want to get involved, but then he decides to get involved, and it's a situation, and it's a thing, but it's him kind of, deciding, what his rights and boundaries are, if he has the power to do this, should he help, or, should he leave well enough alone? So that was interesting. And then the third one, this one is, he's on a trip, and his plane crashes or something, and then he ends up on a boat with, Oliver Queen, and, everyone thinks he's Bruce Wayne.
Boats and hoes, yo. That's what Issue 3 is all about.
He has a good time.
Y'all are ahead of me. I haven't read this one yet, and
he has a sexy time with a lady that's fun, it's hot. So I was into that.
This was really cool. Also, this is the artist who did Lady Killer with Jamie S. King.
Big breakout from last year.
Yeah, and this art's beautiful. It works perfect for the story. He gets mistaken as Bruce Wayne on a party boat. That they're throwing a 21st birthday party for Bruce, and he doesn't even never show up.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed this series.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed this take. I like the fact that it falls right in line with the new DC. We're just going to let creators write good stories, and we're not going to necessarily chain them down with continuity. Mm-hmm. And the kind of the world that Landis has worked with this is he's growing up. We haven't seen him put in the tights yet, and these are all moments in his life that are kind of shaping up why he makes the decision to do Superman, become Superman. He kind of owes himself to it. And it's just been fun to watch, all the scenes in Smallville. A lot of his friends know about him. Yeah. A lot of his friends understand, hey, so do you ever use that X-ray vision on people, Clark? And it's just him I used to, but it's kind of weird.
Don't do it.
And at one point, his friend Pete teases him, goes, oh, so you want a trip to the Bahamas? You can just fly to the Bahamas anytime you want, dude.
Just give me that ticket, bro.
But everyone treats him as an equal because this is Smallville, and of course that's going to be a huge influence on why he is the person that he is in the comics.
Yeah.
And I've really genuinely enjoyed it. Well, it's I haven't been excited about a Superman story in a while.
And there is some other stuff going on where, some mixed opinions. There's some stuff going on with Superman in the regular comics right now.
Yeah.
Some people totally hate it, but I know some people who are totally loving it.
Well, what's happening? I don't know.
He's been radically depowered.
Okay.
So he's sort of, wandering around as, a closer to ordinary human. And some people are really hating that, and some people are really, really digging it.
He's also been outed, his identity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they're putting that genie back in the bottle, but
I mean, maybe it's just like Daredevil, where they just went, okay, so we got rid of that.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. I know. I don't want to hate on it because I'm not reading it, and I do know some people who are just like, no, Action Comics is really, really good right now.
Okay.
So I don't know where I would come down if I actually were to come down. But like for a lot of people who haven't read Superman in a long time, this American Alien series is really catching people.
It's really perfect. It really is.
Yeah.
It's just. Okay, so the way that you love X-Men stories where it's date night. This entire issue is date night.
Yeah.
Hi, hello. Have that element in an awesome Superman comic. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun. And it was fun to see him, like, so he's a small town guy from lives on a farm, whatever, and he gets on this, like, crazy party boat that's, like, celebrity, over the top stuff, and, like, everyone, he's mistaken for Bruce Wayne or something, so he just goes with it, and he's like, yeah, sure. And so because he's able to not be himself for a minute, he can just have fun and, like, have a party and, like, have a good time. And so, like, that was really fun to see because everybody just wants to have a good time and, like, be on a crazy party boat and everyone think they're a billionaire. Like, that would be so much fun. And he totally takes advantage of it in a great way.
And before you guys are like, oh, well, so he doesn't throw up, like, I swear this is not Superman Returns where he doesn't throw a punch the entire film.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I need to really point out that in issue 3, Deathstroke shows up.
Oh, yeah, that was really funny.
It's legitimately one of the fucking funniest fight scenes I've seen in a long time in a comic book. It's fantastic.
That was really good. It was really good. I agree 100%. So, yeah, I've been really enjoying American Alien. I'm going to keep reading it. It's like the first Superman comic I've read since All-Star Superman that I've been interested in, so it's kind of like... I'm not a big Superman person, but I think
it's hard to be a Superman person. All the stories have been told, so it's trying to find a new angle on it.
Yeah. So I guess let's hop over to Image. So Jason Aaron, we talked a lot about him in the Marvel Plopcast. But so he's also doing stuff for Image, and one of those things is a book called The Goddamned. And this is kind of like a heavy metal-ish type story where, it takes place before the flood.
The Bible flood.
The Bible flood.
Old Testament storytelling. And that's going to turn a lot of people off.
No, it's great. He's taking the best mythological ideas from that weird Old Testament time. So Cain, this is something, I'm really into, too. So it's just, I'm really into this whole story because I love these ideas. So Cain, he was given, after he killed his brother Abel, God made it to where nobody could kill him, and so that's kind of his punishment is to walk the earth. And so in this, we're following Cain. He wants to die, he's always looking for trouble, but he's a super badass. No one can touch him. And we meet Noah in this, and he's getting ready for the flood, and he's got this whole, slave camp thing going on, and they're just, just taking all the trees. And then it's really interesting because Cain is looking for the Nephilim, which, if you're familiar with the Nephilim, so when the angels saw how hot chicks were, they came down and they fornicated with women, and so those children became giants, and they were like these giant magical kind of half angel, half human hybrids. So I guess Cain is looking for one of those guys because then that guy could probably have the power to kill him or something like that.
We hope.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Kind of strange that you're rooting for
people say fuck stick and stuff in this and crazy shit. There's a lot of poop and blood and boobies and just weird stuff and it's super fun. It's kind of grindhousey in a way. It's
stuff.
Oh, that's the perfect way. It is totally 70s grindhouse.
It's totally grindhousey, for sure. So I've been having a lot of fun with it, but I'm interested in those sort of subjects. I mean, I was raised in the South, so I had to go to church every Sunday, so I know a lot of these stories, and
If they fed me this in church, I would have totally paid attention.
Well, I really enjoyed Wednesday night Bible study because we talked about stories that they didn't talk about in church, because the ones they talked about in church were always the same fucking ones every year, over and over again, and it's we get it, But then on Wednesday night Bible studies, we learned about the chick who put a tent spike through this guy's head, and that was awesome. And Samson, I love Samson, he's a super tragic weirdo character, he's super fun. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting Bible stories out there, in my opinion, and this is kind of playing off of that. So Jason Aaron, again, killing it.
Definitely.
More killing it.
Yep.
Reasons why
killing other things, finding new things, and killing them.
Yeah.
And new ways to kill them. It's amazing. Also, other reasons why I loved this series was I went into it blind because you mentioned this in the last Plopcast, if Jason Aaron's name is on it, you just buy it.
Yeah.
So I went into it blind, just going, well, wow, you call it a comic, but goddamn, of course I'm in. And eventually what ended up was the comic slowly reveals itself to you throughout the first issue without hitting you upside the head what story you're reading.
Yeah.
And before you realize, fuck, I'm reading an Old Testament Bible story, you're already hooked. Like, it's too late. Like, that's how good the series was. It was like, nope, sorry, you're now invested. I'm like, yes, I am definitely invested. So, again, just a credit to Jason Aaron.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is interesting stuff. I don't know. Like, I think all mythologies are interesting, including like Christian mythologies, and like they're all, a lot of them are all connected. They're all the same stories. Like, I don't know. If you look at like ancient Egyptian like creation mythologies, it's very similar. Like, and I love all that stuff.
And there's twists on some of this stuff in The Unwritten. Which is one of my favorite books. And they get into sort of their take on the Cain story, and it's just really cool. Like, a lot of people get their best results when they go to those sort of classic pure stories.
I'm super stoked for if Lilith shows up. Like, Lilith is one of my favorite, like, weirdo Old Testament, like, people. I mean, she's not in... They edited her out, you know? But she was the first wife of Adam, who was also made from clay and, like, refused to be subjugated to him. And so she willingly left the Garden of Eden. Rather than be this guy's bitch, she was like, no. And she left, and the angels were like, dude, come back. And she's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. And then they're like, God is going to kill 100 of your babies every day until you come back. And she's like, fuck you. And so, yeah, and then, you know, supposedly she became a demon or got in with the demons or something. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
She got in with the crowd, man.
Well, I mean, those fallen angels,
hang out with?
you know.
You're out of Eden.
Well, I always thought that she, like, hung out with, like, you know, the fallen angels and stuff. Because people always think they're like, oh, Lucifer, like, he reigns hell or whatever. Like, but it's like, no, from my understanding, he was cast down to earth, right? Like, I always thought that was the deal. Like, he was cast to earth, so he walks among... like earthlings, and then isn't it in Revelations then he's thrown into the pit like after? I don't know, I can't remember. It's like it's been a while, but I don't know.
I did not know. I guess I assumed the version where he was down in hell until Neil Gaiman sent him to Earth.
That's
the only mythology I know.
Yeah.
That's the version I remember too. That's so weird.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I don't, there's a lot of different ideas out there and different interpretations of things. There's no right or wrong situation because these are like stories that are more like fables and reality tales and things like that. So, and they have meanings that we can't even grasp because they're like for like really hardcore. These books of the Bible were written by really intense motherfuckers for really intense motherfuckers. It was not written for the average fucking dude to like. There's no way. Like, I don't know. I've been doing some research into like Hebrew letters and stuff like that. And like, okay, so the third level is Gimel, which means camel or rope, right? So then, follow me.
No, hey, I'm here.
The Jesus saying where he says, it is easier for, you know, a rich man to get into heaven than it is for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. But it was supposed to be rope.
Yeah.
Like, they misinterpreted it. Like, they just misinterpreted it. And it's just like, well, what else is misinterpreted, you know? Like,
so they basically Neil Armstronged it. Like, no, Neil, you got the quote wrong when he stepped on the moon, but
it's fine.
That's the way it is now.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, it's camel. It's not. And it's like, that makes so much more sense. Rope, that makes a million times more sense, you know? So, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm interested in all that sort of weird shit.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so the goddamn was really cool. Speaking of mythologies... you want to talk about Wiccan Divine?
Let's go Wiccan and Divine and let's just freaking throw this out right now.
This book, I know on the last podcast I said that Squirrel Girl is my favorite book, but it's honestly a tie between these, like, because this is the book that I can't wait to tear into when it comes out every single month. And, like, I keep thinking it won't get better, and then it does.
And I still don't know exactly where it's going, but I'm still okay with that. Yeah. Like, it's just like, okay, like... I'm here.
Well, no, I mean, first we had the bombshell. I mean, okay, spoilers.
I don't know. I can't.
Are you not? Okay, I'm not ready to spoil then. But we actually find out who is behind the head exploding.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. Some people did, but not me.
I didn't. I didn't see
not
that.
even a little.
But now my theories are like, oh, now I've got new theories. But I thought it was great that first we get that bombshell, and you're like, well, where do you fucking go now? And so they did guest artist issues. And they're more like character assassination.
I like these.
This was so funny and so ballsy because it should have tanked the book, and they called it Commercial Suicide, and it's a book where the central metaphor is that the gods are pop stars, and commercial suicide, of course, is when you do something risky and it fails, and like that's your blah blah blah. And that they just freaking called the arc that, and then like. Spoilers, that's not why it's called that. Like, it just, stupid Kieran Gillen, why are you so good?
He's really good, yeah. He's in McKelvey, too. They're just such a dynamic team.
And the cool thing was this was...
Sorry, I totally talked over you. I was so excited about the guest artist. But...
And it was so awesome because this was while they were working on Phonogram.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this was really awesome. And, like, I'm getting some, like, Tula Late did an issue. The last issue was... Graham, who also does The Island and for a long time is doing Nuclear Warheads, which
multiple
warheads, yeah.
And his art worked perfectly.
He's so good
in this world.
So good. I loved the little cat girl Egyptian goddess. Was it Sekhmet?
Sekhmet, yeah.
Sekhmet?
Okay, let's take a commercial break real quick because our SD card just ran out, and we'll be right back with more about whatever comic you guys are reading.
Okay. Public service announcement, the Comic Book Girl Named Teen Weird Ass 2016 calendar is now available on sale for $20.16 on comicbookgirl19.com. Same as last year, it's a 12x12 calendar. Inside of this year, it starts in February and ends in January of next year, so we know it's late, whatever. And yeah, you can get it if you're international or if you're domestic, doesn't matter. Super awesome if you got one last year. There's only limited availability this year, so better get one now while it's hot.
Completely wall mountable. Yeah.
Man, you guys, I have found this movie called Life Force, and it's so bad, and it's amazing. It's my new favorite thing in the world.
That's awesome.
It's so good. It's like those Canon Films situations. I just watched the Canon Films documentary, and it was great. And then I saw these clips from this movie called Life Force, all these fucking crazy pups, and I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, this is like big budget effects that look great from like the middle of the 80s. And then I ordered it on Blu-ray, and it's just like, what is this movie? Like, it's the perfect movie to put on mute and play hot jams over it because it like looks awesome. But then if you actually try to watch it, you're just like, you can't even like it just.
It's gonna sync up, man.
Like it's crazy.
That's awesome.
So, making a Bloodshot movie.
Trying to make like a bunch of them. So apparently Valiant has like crazy angel investors who were like, we'll relaunch you, but you have to make movies. And so they were just like, throw everything, we'll throw money at you until somebody agrees to make these movies. And like, that's why they kind of came out of nowhere with the reboot. And then like, apparently the reason they're getting all these great creators is that they're just paying them huge amounts of money, which is a wonderful way to get great people on your side. And I'm like, God bless all of them. But, so I think that's the deal is that they were trying to like, they have a certain number of years to try and get a movie franchise going. And I haven't read a damn single one of the Valiant books, and I feel real bad about it because some of their reps are super nice, and I'm starting to feel guilty. But
just
can't read them all. It's hard.
You can't. All right, so pick it back up.
Yep. Here we go. Ready? And we're back.
All right, we're back with Wicked and Divine.
And a new SD card.
Yes.
And a new SD card. Okay, so
commercial suicide.
So this guy was great about Sekhmet, and it was...
Oh, yeah, we were showing off some awesome Brandon Graham here.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good.
There's probably
I love
boobs
his
in
stuff.
here, so hopefully I'm not ruining anything.
Oh, man, he's so good. I love that she's just like a cat. Like they have to get her drunk all the time because
otherwise she's too dangerous.
Because she's too dangerous, and so like that explains why she acts all weird throughout the entire series. Yeah. It's like she's always like. She does act like she's drunk or she's not there or like something's like wrong with her. Like she's not lucid, you know? And so now we get to find out why, where it's like they keep her drunk on purpose because she's crazy dangerous and will eat your face off. Because she's a cat. Like she's a crazy cat lady.
They figured out like, well, we need to keep giving her catnip.
Yeah, she's the god of war and cats and death and like sex, okay? So like she's just crazy.
The Morgan issue was amazing because she was just a big nerd. Yeah. And I really loved that. Like the author Kieran Gillen like is a mini wargamer, and like he makes her a goth and a wargamer, and it's adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier, like that each of these, because I didn't expect this arc to necessarily work. I was just like, well, I want to hear about our main character. Don't sideline me with a bunch of one-shots. And it's just like, oh, except they're all going to be really rich. They're all going to push the story forward either in obvious or subtle ways. And it turns out some of the gods you don't think you're going to be very invested in, you're going to get really invested in. There was one particular show I was telling you guys about, and then you were like, you have to tell this story. And this is my excuse for this, because I feel all self-indulgent about it. But, like, there was an issue, I just won't mention which one, and having read, it could be several of them. I read it, and I was like, I'm fine. And then I started to drive away from work, and I just had to pull over and cry in my car.
Yeah.
Because it just sneaks up on you, and it's this really crazy, profound examination of a lot of issues that are relevant to life. And I don't know, I'm being super vague.
You don't want to name the issue, though?
Relevant particularly to people who have social media followings, like, about how those things affect you, like... And how, you know, we're living in this era right now where, I mean, this is the first time we've ever had social media. This is the first time that we've ever been exposed to this many random anonymous people's opinions, you know. So, I mean, for people, you know, who have a social media presence, it's like, we don't know how this is going to affect us. And everyone's like, oh, you need to act like this and you need to do this and it's so easy. But nobody knows. There's no rules. We don't know how this, I mean, and it does affect you. Like, that's the thing that... You know, it's an interesting anthropological, sociological experiment that we're running right now on the internet.
And it's interesting because it's like, obviously the stuff that I related to about it, about like having a profile, like is you know, obviously like something I wanted to happen and something that I'm happy. Like it's wonderful to be able to talk to people all over the world about stuff. Like it's more good than it is bad, but the sides of it that... Like, there are vulnerabilities there that I had never seen depicted in the way I saw it in this. And so it was just the truth of it that really got to me. Not like a, oh, poor famous people kind of situation. Not that I'm actually famous. But, like, it was well, it's
kind of interesting because, like, as far as, like, I think we kind of touched on this the last time we talked about it, but humans just naturally have this way of starting to behave as far as, like, groupthink or a way an opinion starts to build, or how we kind of are not rational when we start putting ourselves in groups. So you start to see like how like gang mentality starts to irrationally come out of nowhere. And it's so strange to see that physically transformed to social media and the internet. And it's a real common like phenomenon that happens on the internet. Like people just start to suddenly agree and think and act the same way without there actually being any actual like substantial evidence to hold up their opinion in the first place. So when you see like the hate start, it takes one person, everyone goes like, well, yeah, I got nothing better to do. Yeah, I hate that too. And it just exponentially explodes. It's a weird phenomenon.
It reminds me a little bit of, we were talking about Doctor Strange, and how in Doctor Strange, like, when you use magic, there's also a toll for every time you use it. You know, you can't just do whatever and then you're fine. And I feel like having a celebrity is kind of a double-edged sword, like magic is, where it's just like there are certain parts of it that are really awesome and like so amazing and surreal and like fantastic. But then there is a price for that. Like there's a price that you pay for those things. And you know, to me, like I mean, a lot of people like, I don't know, especially like a lot of kids and stuff. Like I always get mad when people are like, you know, oh fuck Justin Bieber and all this stuff, and it's like he was a child, like he didn't know what he was signing up for, like he was pushed into this, like yeah, and he acts like an asshole. Who wouldn't? Like he hasn't had a normal life like ever. I think about celebrity a lot. It's a very interesting disease, and it's something that, you know, I have a little bit more celebrity, you know, whatever, than I ever like necessarily wanted. I don't know, like there's a part of me that really likes being in a leadership position and things like that, because I feel like I have strengths and stuff to bring, but to consciously give up my anonymity is a big sacrifice for me, you know, and there are drawbacks to it, you know, that are super bummers, but there's also amazing things that come out of it too, so you kind of have to take the good with the bad.
And this book is all about the power of inspiration, and like it's interesting because technically none of these people opted in, but you also, as you get to know them, like it's a book about fame, but it's also a book about fandom.
Yeah.
Like they talk about this particular like pantheon. It starts one by one. You start to realize that a bunch of them like sort of aspired or were into these ideas before they kind of got chosen, and we still don't know like how that happened or why and all this stuff. But it's all about like Kieran Gillen is always talking about your relationship to art. That's like his thing. Like, and he just takes a different spin on it every time, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, Wicked and Divine is killing it still. I'm in. We're still going. I'm excited about it.
I'm just going to say it right now. Like, one of my favorite things to do was to read Wicked and Divine while listening to some of my favorite music.
Yeah. He has a playlist for it on Spotify, and it's friggin' great.
It's the best playlist ever.
I need to get the Spotify. I'm going to break down and do it.
It's so good. It was so funny. I was actually listening. It was the strangest coincidence. I was listening to Bowie's new Black Star album to, like, the last arc because I wanted to do a quick reread.
Oh, no.
And it's so cool that it's synced up so great. And then 2 nights later, Bowie passes. And it was funny because one of my neighbors was with me that night. We were at the bar drinking, and it's the most insane, surreal experience. But we get the text, and we find out, and all of a sudden my neighbor looks at me like, weren't you just listening to the record about, like, reading your favorite comic? Like,
and it's a comic about people who have the power to inspire strangers but will die within 2 years.
Yeah,
so just,
so you know. Yeah.
A little creeped out.
Yeah.
A little creeped out. So, not only do I love Wicked and Divine, I now respect it for different reasons.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of comics that made you cry, Saga totally got me. Fuck, man, this comic is like... It gets me sometimes, like, and it's unexpected. Like, it's always
How
left
is it always unexpected? Like, we never see it coming. We should see it coming by now.
It's retarded.
We're on issue 32.
It's so good. Yeah, like the part where Marco and Alana find each other. It was just like, like it was just so good. It was.
But
so
again,
good.
you can't find something without losing something else. Like
it was insane.
Well, hey, the same theme. Like, whatever they keep, like, acquiring or what they need to go find, they have to give something up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's how life is, you know? It's like you can't get something without giving something in return, you know? And it's like you can kind of choose those things, though, a little bit, like, and guide them, you know? But if you don't, like, something is going to, like, be taken from you whether you want it to or not.
Right.
So it's like, it's interesting.
One of the lessons I'm definitely learning, and it's so funny this is, like, all syncing up, you can believe in the universe or whatever it is that you believe in. Like, I think you should go for it, like, full speed. But no matter what you believe in, understand that there are powers that you don't quite understand and comprehend, that they will push back. And unless you're willing to trust, like, the stuff in your life, don't be, like, get ready to get your hands fucking dirty. Like, I never wanted to coast. So when you go, like, I believe in the universe, I really believe in these powers, it's like, but you really need to, like, dive in and really explore it and learn it and respect it. Yeah. And that's just kind of a big lesson I'm kind of learning in my personal life right now. So whatever it is you believe in, like, be ready to get your hands dirty because it's only going to help you, but don't expect it to just drag you along for the ride.
Well, there's also, like, I mean, this is a theme of my life, is, like, when to push, when to pull, and when to do nothing, you know? And, like, I feel like this year of 2016 is ride the wave. There's a lot of riding the wave.
Ride the wave.
Because there's also, like, if you, like, have a will and you're like, I want to do this thing, sometimes that gets in the way of the universe just doing fun things for you. Like, your own will can get in the way. So, like, sometimes you need to recognize when you don't need to push anything and go. But then there are times where you do need to take that stand. You do need to take that leap of faith. So it's, like, it's interesting.
I just don't want to be a bystander. Like, I want to be, like, active. I want to be present. So that's, like, a better way to say it. She cleared it up. But
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it's interesting because, like, I sometimes, like, do too much and I need to, like, not do things, you know? And then there's it's like we all have our own situations. I'm sure Amy's, like, perfect because she's, like,
oh God, no,
super, like, middle, like, even person, you know? Like, and then Kirk and I are, like, it's like it's a good Three Little Bears situation we have going on here. I feel like
this is the Goldilocks, like, zone right now.
I'm being quiet because I don't want to get into too, but like I'm in awe of you and the things that you do, and like you get shit done, and I love that.
Yeah, well, it's a blessing and a curse. It's, sometimes I go too far with it, and then I get fucked up, and I can't, like, record videos for 2 months because I'm like, but, we're back, and that's all that matters. But yeah, Saga, back to Saga for just a minute. So little girl gets taken with her grandma. But they don't know that she has the horns and the wings, you know. So she's hiding out. So then we get to see her, and she's grown up now. It's like she's like 5
like kindergarten
or 6.
Now, yeah.
So we get to see her.
Along.
I know. And then it's like you don't get to see Marco and Alana. So you're like, where have they been? What are they up to? So in this most current issue, you finally get to see where they've been, and they've been trying to find. They've teamed up, and they're the sexy team that they're trying to just find their daughter, but they both really kind of think that she's dead, but like they're just doing it because they want to hang out and have a reason to be together, and then they find the proof that she's still alive, and it's great. It's great, and it's like really hot, so it's fun. Yeah, Saga still going.
Addictive as ever.
Yeah. Now this one, okay, so this was.
You have to tell me about this one because
this girl and her best friend like dies, and then I don't know, it's like she blacks out and like kills these two cops that like killed him, and then like you don't know what's going on, and there's like things like magical, mystical situations going on. But like I don't know, I really see this like this could be a movie potentially. Like I don't know, I'm really enjoying the pacing of it. I'm really enjoying the elements in it. It's weird. It's got death stuff, but it's still girly and like fun and cartoonish. And but it's dark as well.
Mature. Yeah, because there's not actually a contradiction between those things.
Yeah,
little mature, but like you know.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. There's some mature stuff in here too.
Coming of age stuff that you deal with, so I totally get that.
Yeah. There's some.
But God, the colors are beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's really lovely. It's wonderful to look at. So
Action Lab is the same company that does Princeless, which is a wonderful all ages book, and they're doing some interesting stuff. They just had like a big anniversary, and it's like they're making a go of it, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. So, you know, if you're a weird girl and you like magical girl stuff, but you also like murder and things like that, then this might be the comic for you.
This looks fantastic.
Tomboy.
This is what's getting me right here.
Oh man, it's like really hot. It's really hot. So
awesome.
yeah, I took a chance and it worked out.
And we're having a little magical girl renaissance right now, and it's super rad. We've got Zodiac Star Force, we've got Power Up, we've got the Lumberjanes, like who are not magical girls, but I just like to mention them.
They're so magical. They're awesome.
I haven't watched it, but I hear Steven Universe kind of has some magical things going on.
I've heard amazing things about that show.
I just started.
Yeah.
That shit's crack, man.
That's what I hear.
It's so good.
I haven't gotten on
like 2 weeks ago, I was like, am I the only person not watching this TV show? And they're short episodes, by the way.
Yeah.
So by episode 4, I was like, okay, so I'm not going out tonight.
Yeah.
I'm totally into it. And it deals with really great themes that... Yes.
I hear there's a lot of philosophical
it's the right thing to get into.
Yes.
You want your kids watching this show. You want them. Yeah. If you're a free thinker who's forward thinking, who like hates all the crap you have to kind of deal with like really narrow-minded people, start your kids on a diet of Steven Universe. It's so good.
And Adventure Time.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed.
Of course, Adventure Time.
Yeah, so so you guys came up with
we
brainstormed.
We tried to brainstorm on more stuff but speaking of tearing down the establishment, if you're not reading Bitch Planet, you
down with the patriarchy!
Absolutely be reading Bitch Planet. It is a crazy exploitation film, women in prison sci-fi story. It is set in the near future in a hyper-patriarchy version of today, which, depending on who you ask, is either very far away or very close to the way things are. But badly behaved women in this world are deemed, if you're bad, you're non-compliant, and if you're criminally non-compliant, they will ship you off-planet to a special jail informally known as Bitch Planet.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole, there's a sports game that everyone's obsessed with, and then somebody has a scheme to, take a bunch of female prisoners and make a team out of them, and people are dying, and it's just super great. Kelly Sue DeConnick is kind of a genius, and it's a wonderful book.
Also, her other book, Pretty Deadly, just started up again, its second arc. That came out last week. I highly recommend that, because it's...
If you like westerns and death and poetry, this is the book for you. And Emma Rios draws it beautifully.
That's so good. What else we got?
Paper Girls, more Brian Vaughn, was on our list. Cliff Chang is the artist on that one, and I love him. It's you described it really well.
Imagine
Spielberg-y.
Spielberg-y 80s films where the kids are actually a little bit smarter than the parents. And it's a band of kind of foul.
It's literally set in the 80s.
Yeah,
so
it's just these great callbacks to the 80s, and they're 3 girls who are literally paper girls who are kind of foul-mouthed and smoking, and it opens up with a great idea that it's the worst night or it's the worst morning for them for their job because it's still the previous night was Halloween. So you still got all the idiots and jackasses out.
Dumb punk teenagers running around making and they're like, we got to band together as paper girls to get the job done today. And then that's when all the sci-fi nonsense kicks in.
There's so much sci-fi in here.
Well, what's the sci-fi angle in the story?
We think there's people from the future, and it's really strange. Actually, I love it because they're using George Orwellian newspeak and combining words and shortening words.
Yeah.
Which anytime a writer is brave enough to I'm going to kind of create my own language here.
Make
for
a
this.
future pigeon language. Yeah, I'm always like, that's a really tough sell.
And we're still not quite sure.
I had been assuming aliens, but everything's kind of up in the air right now.
Right, we're not even sure if future or aliens or different races. And we're still not even sure, like, the first group that the girls ran into, if they're good or bad. And it's at one point they had, like, universal translators, so like, oh, this is great. And then that plot device gets thrown out the door. So we don't know what's going on, but it's beautiful.
It's on issue like 4 now, I think.
4 just came out.
Yeah. I need to. I think I read like a preview of it, but I was thinking about waiting for the trade, like when it's 6, and see how that goes.
And they're probably going to do it on the new model Image does, where they get the trade ready as soon as they have it done, which I love.
Yeah, Image is like on the up and up on that business. What else you guys got?
Saints is a totally offbeat one. But speaking of like mythology and religious stuff, there's this weird little book at Image.
I saw it today, and I looked at it, but I didn't pick it up. Yeah.
And it's funny because it wasn't really on my radar, and I was just flipping through it in the store. But it's about like a bunch of like normal modern young people who turn out to be like reincarnations of the Catholic saints.
Oh, cool!
And so they're trying to figure out what their deal is and whether they trust each other, and like they're very just sort of unexpected people to have that particular role. And then there's like a big conspiracy to like gather them up, and then other people who are being trained to hunt them down, and like it's really interesting.
Is Saint Teresa around?
I don't think we've met her yet.
Okay.
We've got Lucy right now. Who was like a checkout girl and totally just thought the others were like trying to come kidnap her because she was a super sheltered kid who was just like, get it, stranger danger, go away. And they were just like, no, you're a saint. And she's like, you don't sound less crazy. Yeah. But like she wears candles in her hair and like it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, we have
okay. We actually made a little list. Like, we gotta talk about that too. How many titles did Vertigo drop?
Still wonderful people over there and wonderful people working with them. And this year they did a huge push that kind of caught everybody by surprise. They launched 12 new books, one every week for 12 weeks straight.
Wow.
Some of them are minis, some of them are ongoings, and like a ton of them have been really interesting.
So one of the best ones that I read so far from them was The Twilight Children. And that was Gilbert Hernandez and Darwin Cook.
Yeah, two giants that working together, like.
And that thing is so beautiful because, especially with that series, I'm finding that they build you a perfect picture of who some of these characters are in just 2 pages. So and not much dialogue. You just see like how they draw and what their action is and how they interact with other characters. That series has been totally killer. What else? Gail Simone on Clean Room is a genuinely creepy, scary title, and I can't talk it up enough. Especially, again, when any creator or writer is able to give me kind of like goosebumps or just on a turn of a page. Like, if you're able to give me a comic book, like, scare, just like in a movie, that's when I freak out.
Yeah.
Like, Witches was able to do that. Witches was just, like, genuinely creepy. But that was really good.
Did you ever read Sin Tutulo?
Yes.
I haven't read that one.
It's so creepy.
Yes.
That's a really creepy one. Cameron Stewart. It's so good.
Awesome.
It's so good. It's really weird.
Actually, our friend Darren is the one that turned me on to that.
Yeah, he turned me on to that too, and I was just like, thank you. This is so weird.
He actually didn't know when he was doing that. That was a web series comic, and he actually did not know where it was going yet until he got to the end. That's what makes it even like this because it all syncs up really well.
It's so weird. It's so. Nice. Hitchcockian in certain ways, and you're just like, what's going on? And you don't know who to trust. And like I don't know. It's genuinely really creepy. That was a really good one. It was a good horror comic. Kind of, not horror, but.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
What else? Art Ops.
That one looks awesome.
That one is Mike Allred art. And
oh, man.
Come to find out, like, certain works of art throughout history are actually alive. And there's a whole, what do you call them? Like, secret society, secret agents?
Uh-huh.
And their job is to protect the art. And at one point, someone tries to steal the Mona Lisa, so they switch the Mona Lisa with one of their agents. And now the Mona Lisa is living real life under, like, witness protection in the real world.
Yeah.
So that one's really fantastic. Also, at Boom Studios, there's another comic book I'm reading right now that I cannot recommend highly enough called Welcome Home.
I haven't read this because we keep selling out of it.
Yeah,
so it's definitely
so cool.
a hit. But.
Which, by the way, the creator is so rad that he actually did a Kickstarter and he went and lived in the creepy clown motel that's right next to a graveyard. He actually did this.
Oh,
and
I've seen pictures of that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know totally.
He lived there for 30 days.
Yeah.
And So I'm like, obviously, okay, I'm going to read all your comic books, dude.
So what's the comic about?
The comic is basically take Scott Pilgrim and mash it up with Highlander. Mm-hmm. But I'm now ready to admit there's probably more elements coming soon. The art is top-notch, very frantic. I love that. And especially it's these characters, and they're called, because I don't have the comic in front of me right now, like replays or something like that. But it's two sides, and they're eternally trapped in, warfare forever. And they're always reincarnated with the idea that this is the person that you need to go find in this world and kill. And at one point, this one person finally, like, her programming kicks in, and it's because her father was a mass murderer.
Whoa.
Who came back and reincarnated as, like, this 8-year-old, 6-year-old girl. And now it's her dad going like, hey, wake up. We got to go do our assassination thing. So it's a little killer, like, 6-year-old. And it's her dealing with the fact that she doesn't want to she's coming to grips with the fact that she doesn't want to deal with the fate. Like, she doesn't want to just keep doing this. Mm-hmm. And that one's been awesome. Cloud Motel.
Another Vertigo one I'm really enjoying is, and again, this is just one of those, they made this comic for me.
Yeah.
It's called New Romancer, and it's got...
Anything with romance in the title, like, I'm interested.
Well, what's great is, like, the main character is this sort of, like, hacker chick who is a coder for, like, went to work for, like, a big, crazy, like, Facebook analog kind of company, and, like, something terrible happened and whatever, and, like, the whole thing starts with her writing this bullshit letter to her dad about how great her life is, and then it's just, like, her in her dumpy, like, attic apartment at this random, like, she's working for a dating website and trying to rebuild their code, and, like, because she's just grown up as, like, there's a whole thing about, like, her dad did weird experiments on her and tried to, like, intrigate her with, there's some sci-fi elements to it, but she was, like, a sheltered nerd who only loved literature, so she working for this dating website, she's just, like, creating all these AI versions of, like, Lord Byron and Casanova and, like, every great, like, character, all the people that were her friends when she was growing up. And then there's this, like, wacky accident of sci-fi with the other mystery company that she used to work for, who's, I guess, trying to make zombies. And so, boom, she has now brought back weird analogs of, like, Casanova, Lord Byron, and all these other people. And it's going to be this, like, she finds the Lord Byron guy, who's, like, her dream man that she's accidentally made real.
Right.
And, like, it's all going to go horribly wrong, clearly. But, like, it's super fun and weird. And this took me, like, 2 weeks of staring at the book and saying it to people and telling them to read it before I figured it out. But the book is called Neuromancer. It's called New Romancer.
Right.
Because that's the name of the dating site. And I'm just like, dude, stupid. Your book made out of everything fun.
Yeah,
that stupid book.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't bring it with me, but, like, the art is adorable and great.
Yeah, we're just totally, like, winging this right now. We're like, did you read that? Did you read
that?
Let's just talk about that.
We started listing more great books.
Descender, you caught up on that?
No, I've read the beginning and it's so
I know,
good.
I'm in the same boat. I'm just waiting for the trade.
Okay, Jeff Lemire at this point, I'm absolutely in love with the fact that he lulls you into a false sense of security with the story, and then he'll add a new element. Ooh. And Descender is another one of those. Mm-hmm. So it's about the boy robot who's AI, but we're realizing that there was this giant genocide of these celestial robots, and it turns out he shares the same programming with them, so they have to kind of, like, hunt him down and answer the questions because he's the key.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was just that when he was first programmed and started up, he was kind of like the playmate to a real human boy. Mm-hmm. And then he shut down for a number of years before he was finally restarted. The last issue, it's now the kid, his playmate, but all grown up.
That's
so
awesome.
They're going to introduce that into the story.
Yeah. No, I want to, and it's Dustin Nguyen. His watercolors are just, like, phenomenal. Like, they're just amazing. He's awesome.
Did he also do Little Gotham?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that where
Yeah.
So good.
It's so pretty.
He's really good. He's really good.
And this, I'm curious, have you read Birthright at all?
No.
It's very premisey, and, like, I don't want to give all of it away, but, like, it's one of the best first issues I've read of anything. Mm-hmm. But it's, how do you feel about spoilers?
I'm okay with spoilers.
Like, right. Spoiler warning for those watching. It's great to find this stuff out as you go through it, but it's kind of a, like, it starts out with this family and their son goes missing, and suspicion falls on the dad because he was with him playing at the park, and then he disappears, and then everyone, you know, it's sort of, unfortunately, in the real world, like you kind of usually suspect
the person who saw them last.
Yeah,
you know, someone close to them.
And so like it totally wrecks their lives, and like he and the mom split up because even she, like, you know, at some point you become suspicious, and even if you don't believe it, then you can't, like, and how do you forgive the person who could even suspect you of that, and everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
So like years later, a crazy full-grown like warrior man emerges and goes, "I'm your son," and they're just like, wait, what? No, sorry. Like 1 year later. 1 year for them, or a small amount of time for them later, like 20 years later, for this crazy warrior man who's claiming he's your son. And it's like, it's that logical, like, what if those 80s movies where you went off and discovered a fantasy universe where you were the savior, what if they were true? What would that actually look like in the real world?
Oh, man.
And what if when you came back, some shit came with you? And, like, there's another twist to it that I think you would really dig, but I don't want to give away.
Okay, don't give that one away.
Yeah.
You hooked me. Because, like, that's totally something that I've thought about a whole lot in my life is, you know, there's so many stories where someone goes to an alternate place, they become the savior of that place, and they go, I have to go home now. And, like, I never understood why the fuck you'd go home. Like, why would you go home? Like, stay.
You have
like,
Oz and Kansas.
Like, why would you go back to Kansas? Like, you know, like, I never understood that. As someone who's from Alabama who went to LA and will never go back to Alabama, I don't understand that. So that's interesting. Like, I've always, that's a topic in particular that I've always been interested in.
Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that one. It's really rad. Mm-hmm.
Another one from IDW that I fell in love with, and I'm going to recommend this for anybody who's into Bitch Planet.
Yeah.
It was called Infinite Loop.
I heard the best things about this book.
Oh, so many feels on this. Especially if you really like Darwin Cook art. This is right up your alley. And the creators, essentially it's this woman, and she belongs to this time-traveling agency, and essentially it's her job, whenever some idiot decides to throw in an anomaly in the time stream that doesn't belong in its time, like, it's her fighting a T-Rex that's not supposed to be in this one moment of time. So it's her job to hunt these anomalies down, whether it's like the invention of the phone happening too early in time, stuff like that. And then she comes across this other woman who is, for whatever reason, an anomaly and isn't supposed to exist. But the whole thing is essentially just commentary on society, and as far as like, you know, new relationships, same-sex relationships. There's one amazing character that happens in it that is kind of an analog and speaks for trans people, and the speech that character gives, I'm just like, boom, I need to give that to every idiot that, like, is completely narrow-minded. I cannot recommend, and it's totally, that noise that Amy just made, that's the comic. The entire comic has action and awe.
Yeah.
So I really, really, really need to speak highly.
Can you flip that picture around? Is that an option? Because
what? Oh, this thing?
Yeah, that little animation.
Should I do this? All right, hold on.
Can you do that?
Work out. Without trying to spill the beer.
That totally works.
Yeah.
Does it?
Look at this.
Look. Is that gonna work? Kind of.
Oh wait. Oh.
That's my computer. It's very dirty, guys. Don't judge me. Hey!
Hello. Yeah. This is some art from Infinite Loop.
And it's absolutely phenomenal.
Which will make you make that noise that I made.
Yes. So please go pick that up. I think the trade actually just dropped too.
Well, I think that about wraps it up.
I'm so glad I got that comic in, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think you know, like I said, I've been a little off my game lately, so I'm glad that you guys are kind of filling me in on things, because I've just been like in a cocoon.
There's a lot to love. Like, any comic book fan you talk to can tell you about more stuff you should be checking out. Like, I need to check out Sin Titulo. There's a bunch of, like, you reminded me that I need to go back and finish Promethea. We were just talking about that.
Oh, yeah,
like,
so
Alan
good. So good.
Okay, wait, we're not done yet. We have a special gift for all of you from DC Comics.
We got presents?
Yeah, some presents, some free comics. Here we go. This is Harley Quinn's Little Black Book. DC people were nice enough to give this to us.
Yeah, you guys.
So you guys
take all
that out.
Take it away.
That is very kind.
Oh, look at that.
You can open one right now if you want.
Yeah, if you want to go nuts.
Are we gonna do an unveiling?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I have
go for
no
it.
idea like what that's supposed to be.
They did a bunch of special variant covers, and there were different versions in these polybags for the month of December.
Let's see what we got.
Do we get any good ones?
Unboxing videos are popular on the internet, right?
Yeah. More popular than anything, for some reason.
This was the J. Scott Campbell one, and I got the pencil version.
Show that on camera real close to the...
Oh, wow.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
So this is good for people. They learn about all these different variant covers.
What'd you get?
I got the same one.
You got pencils too. So what they did was they had different artists on each of the things, I think, and you would either get like the colored or the penciled or the inked versions of whichever cover you got.
I bet you're going to get a different one than that Green Lantern. Do that one.
It will be, yeah. It'll be a...
It's just, I can't even...
What'd you get?
I might steal it. This was the Darwin Cook cover.
Oh, damn it!
Here, you...
and it's Harley and Green Lantern, the inked version.
Here, there's... I tried to open it.
Are you just
You were defeated by the polybag?
I was like, I give up. You win. You win,
fun to open
polybag.
This reminds me of back when I used to buy, like, either baseball cards or Magic the Gathering cards. Just sitting here with friends and opening stuff for a while.
So, has anyone...
we got the inked version.
Has anyone read her little black book deal? Or
No, but I think this is a great idea for a comic. It's a team-up comic.
Yeah.
And it's just self-contained stories. The first one is her teaming up with Wonder Woman. So I took this one home so I can...
All right.
Well, that's what happens when you don't know what's in the
wait,
bag.
hold on. There's another one. There's another one here.
Yeah.
Are we just going all the way for
Yeah,
this?
oh yeah. Just like, we're going to see them all.
All right.
And this was from Clark Bull.
I'm going to cut my my hand on
DC.
on
Thank
the
you,
internet
Clark.
for you guys.
Say thank you, Clark.
Thank you, Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clark.
There are mixed feelings about variant covers throughout the industry, but for those who enjoyed them, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was actually a really big fan of the Sex Criminals variant cover. The super naughty
XXX
ones.
variants?
Yeah.
Whatever, is that series
We
ever
didn't
go
even talk
anywhere?
about Sex Criminals.
Did it even
they
ever
just,
go anywhere, or did it just give up? Because I gave up.
They still come out, but not very often.
I see that.
They come out
Yeah,
a couple times a year.
Here's
and
the
I
hard
love
part.
it every time it comes out.
It's still my favorite comic. I don't care, but yeah, it's been inconsistent recently.
Yeah.
But not the story, just the release on it.
Yeah.
They lost me.
It's a
They
tough way
lost
to
me.
be.
Okay,
Oh,
very
They
good.
lost me.
Buy
All
more
right.
Sex Criminals.
They
Buy all
lost
the
me.
Sex
They
Criminals.
lost me.
Time
So
to
true.
wrap it up.
It's true.
Thank your guests for being here and plug everyone.
All right. Amy Dallin, tell people where they can find you on the internet.
I'm on Twitter at Enthusiamy. I'm on YouTube. I have a new show called Future Girl that we made that we're going to be coming out with soon.
Ooh.
Thanks. Yeah, Enthusiamy, Geek and Sundry, my own YouTube. Thanks for having me.
And Captain Kirk.
At Kirk Like Stuff on Twitter, Instagram. I don't even know if I have my Instagram anymore. Also, I seriously, I don't. And also starting up a new comic book website called DeusExComica.com. I think that's going to happen the end of February, and if the rest of my partners see this and realize I was not supposed to say that, sorry guys. But yeah, that's going to launch. That's going to be all reviews and content, and it's basically going to be a really sexy journalism website.
Sexy journalism.
I like
sexy comic journalism.
That's what the people want.
Give them
I assume.
Give them what they want.
If you build it, they will come. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. We'll see you guys after a few more months when I read a bunch more comics, and we'll figure it out.
And I hope that we can have you guys both back
Yes!
next time.
Yeah,
This is very
thank you
good.
so
Very
much for
informative.
This is
coming
therapy.
in,
This is
guys.
beer and talking comics, guys. Come on.
Yay.
And that's a wrap. Thank you.